Okay. Now, you guys remember, everybody remember your high school prom? Do you remember your clothes you wore to your high school prom? Yeah. Do you remember maybe the girls, and maybe they had the fluffy sleeves. Maybe the hair was maybe the yay high. Nowadays it's weird. Nowadays, like girls wear tennis shoes and slippers or whatever. But back in the day, I remember the girls would just get dressed up really nice, and guys was usually the first time we had tuxes. It was a magical, magical day. Now, it's a kind of a time where you're growing up and you're kind of leaving childhood, and you're going on in life. And I remember my senior prom, I asked my mom, I said, Mom, I need about an extra $500-600 for prom. And she said, well, why? And I said, because I need to get a limo. Because you have to have a limo. And she says, James, you and your friends have beautiful brand new cars, which was true. We all had really nice cars. And I go, yeah, but we went a limo to get there. She goes, you don't trust your friends to get you there? I'm like, no. She goes, you're telling me these are your best friends? Yes, they're my best friends, but you don't trust them to get you there? No. And they shouldn't trust me. And she said, don't you think that's a little bit weird that you don't trust your friends? And I said, actually, it kind of is. I'm sure we all have friends that we like to have fun with, we like to go out with, but am I going to trust you to get me home safe? Maybe not. I don't think maybe that's the person. Now, here's the deal, guys. There are all sorts of times in life when we can't see what's up ahead or where we're going and need to rely on someone or something else to help us navigate and show us the way. Now, some of you could say, well, I have trusted somebody. I have put my trust in somebody and they let me down. They lied to me. They gossiped about me. They said things about me to somebody else. They hurt me. So now my walls go up. They go back up. How many of you are there? I used to trust people. I don't trust anybody anymore. Now my walls go right back up. And that's no way to live either. Guys, I am the husband I am, the father I am, the pastor I am. I am all of those things because of the people that I put around me. The people you have around you are everything, because those are the people that you're going to trust the most. So the big question today is, where do you look for answers? Where do you look for answers? I've had people come up to me, tell me, and they kind of shut them down really quickly because they come up to me and they go, James, I know that you've got big things coming up. How do you know that? How are you so confident? Because I was looking up your horoscope the other day, and it said, I'm like, you lost me. I don't even know what sign I am. You lost me. Or I saw this thing, this meme that made me think of you. Or this is one I've gotten before. Seriously, James, the universe is telling me good things are going to come to you. I'm like, that doesn't mean anything. What does that mean? Mother Nature is happy with me right now? And then you get it from Christians too. I've had Christians tell me exactly how the world's going to end based on the Left Behind movie. It's like, you're not getting it from the Bible? You're getting it from a movie? When Kirk Cameron's telling you how this whole thing's going to go? How's this working? See, guys, a lot of us feel like we're fumbling along, trying to figure out what to do, what to believe, which way to go, and not knowing who to trust. I know people that get their daily advice from social media memes. I've had a lot of people send me memes, smile at somebody because you don't know who needs it. That's a very sweet, kind thing to do. But that's what they're getting their news from. That's where they're getting everything from. Guys, for me, it all sounds good. Yeah, smile at somebody. That's a good thing to do. But I don't need a fortune cookie way to live, okay? I need God to direct my path. And the best way to do it is through his word. That's how it works. You always got to go back to the source. Always. It's based on his word. So a better question would be, and this is unfortunate, ever discover that a person you were taking direction from didn't know what they were talking about or wasn't really practicing what they preached? This is disheartening. Why is it disheartening to see another pastor fall down and have a mess up immorally? This happens all the time, by the way, you guys. It's always sad when you see a pastor screw up and mess up morally. They have a big moral failure. Why are we disappointed? Because that's the dude who's been telling me what I need to do to get closer to God, and that dude's been messing around. So that's why it gets you more bummed out. It gets you more disheartened, or you find out they're stealing money from the church or whatever, which happens. And then you're like, I'm giving this money to God. I've been trusting you with this, and you're spending it on your own stuff. And it's very, very disheartening. Or maybe somebody that's in a miserable marriage, and they're constantly telling you how to be a husband or a wife. You're like, dude, maybe you should check out your own thing first, and then talk to me. So who you go to is everything, and it's not new. Jesus talks about this. In Matthew 15:14, it says this: stay away from the Pharisees. I'm pausing there. I know that we always say Jesus says to love everybody, turn the other cheek, and he does, and he asks us to love everybody and love our enemies. But he says, stay away from these people. Not you guys, we love you guys. Stay away from these people, these religious people, these ultra-religious people. You know I'm not talking about you guys now. Stay away from them because they're going to lead you in the wrong way. Stay away. This is Jesus. Yes, you can love people. Yes, you're supposed to love people. Yes, you're supposed to forgive people, but stay away from them. They're dragging you down. Let me finish this. It says, stay away from the Pharisees. They are blind leaders. And if a blind person leads a blind person, both will fall in the ditch. So if you keep getting advice from the wrong people, you're going to keep falling in the ditch. But we keep doing that, We often take advice from people that tell us what we want to hear. That's why we keep going to them. You owe it to yourself. You should do this for yourself. Blah, blah, blah. You're right, I should. And you keep falling in this ditch. So who you have around you really is everything. Many times, guys, we feel blind. And unfortunately, we don't know who to trust. In a recent poll that was conducted about couples and successful couples, it was interesting because before love, what they want, it's like, what do you want out of a relationship? Before love, before even respect, there was mutual trust. It was the number one. Why? Because if I can't trust you, I don't think you love me. If I can't trust you, I know you're not going to respect me. Mutual trust was the top one. I've got to know that I trust you. It's that big of a deal. Okay, so we see this in our fight song. We've been talking about our fight song, our take back our life song. David writes these beautiful lyrics in Psalm 23. I'm going to read them again. It says this: the Lord is my shepherd and I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures and he leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Now remember this, guys. This is a metaphor that he's using between a sheep and the shepherd. This is what David is talking about. He's using a sheep and the shepherd. That's the metaphor. So he guides me along the right path, or he leads me in the right direction. Now, why is this important? Because sheep are creatures of habit. So if you have a sheep and their sheep is right here and they're getting food and water, right, they're going to stay there forever. So what about when all the food and the water is gone? They don't care. They're just going to keep staying there until a shepherd leads them away to food and water. And if the shepherd doesn't, then they're going to stay there forever. It's kind of starting to sound like us. You see where the metaphor is coming along? How many times have we promised ourselves, I'm not going to fall for that again, only to fall for that again? And then we feel bad and we feel guilty, and God, I promise I'll never do it again. I'm really sorry, and then we do it again. Most of the time, when we're promising God I'll never do it again, we're halfway still thinking about how we're going to do it again, right? So it's like, that's not working. Why? Because it's a creature of habit. Why do we do it? Because there's something in us we don't like. We could put on great smiles. We really can. We could put on great, nice clothes, or as Mark calls this, a blouse, whatever. We could put on nice things, right? And smiles and act like we're good. But when we look in the mirror, we don't like what we're seeing. So we have vices. So we do things to get out of that. Whether it's drinking something or going on a website or going on an app or whatever. Getting involved in some bad, toxic situation, whatever. And we keep doing it. And we don't like doing it, but we keep doing it anyway. And it's really, really, it's one of the things that sheep do. We just, it's part of my habits, and I can't change it. And we end up feeling immediately worse right after. Now, guys, maybe you're feeling like this. Most of us know where we are and where we want to go, but we have no idea how to get from here to there. I know what I want, and I know where I want to go, but how do I get there? That's the rub. And stop telling me I need to pray more because I'm praying and I don't get it still. So what do I need to do? Well, you need to go to church. Great, I'm going to church, but still, how do I get there? What does this look like? How do I get there? I think we're asking the wrong question, and I think if we're honest with ourselves, we would say we are asking the wrong question. Because we're asking, what path should I take? Pastor, tell me what path I should take. But you don't want to know what path to take. You want to know the shortest way to get there. That's what we really want, because we're impatient people. Don't just tell me where to go. Give me the shortest distance so that I can get there. I remember I was helping the girls one time with homework. And this is back when I understood their homework. I don't understand sixth grade math at all. Are they going to be architects? I don't get it. Anyways, so they were asking me, and they said, I don't get this. And I said, okay, do you want me to just give you the answer? And they go, yes. I'm like, you're supposed to say no. No. But they were being honest. Just give me the answer. I don't want to go through all this stuff. It's too hard. Sheep are the same way, you guys. They know that their shepherd could lead them to safety. They get it. They know it. They just don't want to do it. They want the shortest way. And guys, the shepherd is never going to take them the shortest way. Only other sheep will. The shepherd won't. So guys, we know he'll eventually, when we're talking about God, he'll take us where we want to go. But we don't know how long it's going to take or what we'll have to go through to get there. So we start looking around for a shortcut. Now, guys, this is something that's happened from the very, very beginning. And the prophet Isaiah says this in Isaiah 53:6. We have all wandered away like sheep. Each of us have gone his own way. But the Lord has put on him the punishment for all the evil we have done. Guys, this is why we read books that say the 5 steps to a better marriage. Great, give me 5 steps. The 5 things to a healthy church. Great, give me the 5 things. The 5 ways to lose 5 pounds in 5 days, right? That's what we want. Give me bite-sized things so I can hurry up and get it over with so I don't have to do anything. You want to know how to lose weight fast? Stop eating. Just don't eat. Eat nothing. And that's how you can lose weight super duper duper fast. But think about how our body chemistry is made up. What happens if you stop eating for 5 days and you lose a lot of weight? What happens when you start eating normal again? Gaining more back. Because our body's not meant to do anything like that. You see, guys, it's the process that shapes your new healthy lifestyle. It's not starving yourself. It's eating right and exercising, but nobody wants to do that. That's boring. I don't want to eat right and exercise. Give me the shortcut. The other way takes way too long. But remember this, guys. Most shortcuts end up being longer, harder, and more expensive in the end. I want a shortcut to, pleasure. I want a shortcut to funds. I want a shortcut to losing weight. I want a shortcut to love or whatever. And it's only going to lead to heartache later because you have to unwind yourself to get out of these things. Please know this, guys. When you're miserable, God sees your pain. I know that some of us are feeling like, I'm miserable and I don't feel like he's getting it, but he does. The problem is we don't want to do what he's asking us to do because it seems too hard. Okay? So if you think about the Jews in the promised land, right? They are crying out to God. They're saying, God, we don't want to be slaves here in Egypt. Please rescue us. Please save us. And God hears their pain. He says this in Exodus 3:7. The Lord said, I have seen the troubles my people have suffered in Egypt, and I have heard their cries when the Egyptian slave masters hurt them. I am concerned about their pain, and I have come down to save them from the Egyptians. I will bring them out of the land and lead them to a good land with lots of room, a fertile land. It is the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. A lot of versions will say it's the land of milk and honey. So God is saying, I see you. I get it. I get it. And I know you're hurting. And there are people here I know for sure are hurting. And God is saying, I see you. I see you. I see you hurting. I'm going to do something about it. So the Jews are saying, great. How long is it going to take? A week, a day, a month? Great. Let's make this happen. Let's go for it. I've seen you do all the miracles. I've seen you separate the sea. I've seen all of that. I know you're real. So how long is it going to take? I mean, we could hang out here for a couple of days. It took 40 years. And the thing is that if you were to look at these locations on a map, it doesn't take 40 years to get from here to here. It was just wandering here, looking for the shortcut. And it's not going to happen because that's not why God does this. There's a famous proverb that says this in Proverbs 3:6, in all your ways acknowledge him and he will make your paths straight. The problem with this passage for a lot of Christians is we hear, he'll make my path straight, meaning I could get a shortcut to what I want. That's not what it means. In fact, the Hebrew phrase straight paths is something closer to roundabout ways that end up in the right direction. So if you look at it technically, it's more of like, I'm going to get you there in my time, in the way I'm going to get you there. We don't like that, though. And here's the truth, guys, that nobody likes hearing. Nobody likes hearing this. I don't like hearing it. I get it. God only ever takes anyone the long way because they need it. The point is to learn and grow, not just to get to where you want to go. I know it hurts. I know it stinks. Just give me the answer. Hurry up. I don't have all day. Just make this work, please. Or we play games with God. If you do this, I'll start tithing. If you do this, I'll start serving at church. If you do this, I'll invite somebody. Like we try to bargain with him, If you do this, I'll give you this. It's going to take some time, okay? Because he's showing you something in the meantime. Now, if you want to go for the shortcut, it's going to be more harmful in the long run. See, guys, giving someone something they're not ready will wreck them. If you're not yet where you want to be, that means there's something else for you to learn where you're at. I get that teenagers think they know everything. They think teenagers will tell you. Teenagers will tell you, here's how you vote. Here's how you think about something. Here's how you do this. Here's how you do that. And then you know what happens to teenagers? They pay taxes. And then they go, wait a minute, I don't know if I want to think this way or do this way, or maybe I was wrong in this, or maybe I was right in this. Here's the deal. Are teenagers dumb? No, they're smart. They're smarter than I am when I was a teenager. They have a lot more knowledge than everything I had. They're not dumb, so then what's the problem? They just don't know enough yet. They haven't seen enough life yet. That's why, guys, so many child actors are a mess. Because they're kids and they get money and fame and power and they don't know what to do with it. So they usually get on drugs or something else to try to give them that thing again. They're not ready for it. So in a nutshell, guys, our most valuable lessons are often learned from not immediately getting what we want. Guys, if I had this job as my first job in ministry, I would have quit a long time ago. There is no way. All the crazy jobs I've had in ministry prepared me to do this. And some of those jobs were just like, what? Do you really even need somebody to do this job? It's like a monkey could do this. But like, I've had those jobs. But it was all of those that helped prepare me for this. Romans 8:28 says, and we know that God causes all things to work together for good for those who love God, for those who are called according to his purpose. There's an old adage that says God works in mysterious ways. It really is. God works in his own time. You just have to trust him. So what do I do with that? You could take the next step God is asking you to, because he's taking you somewhere good. Guys, right now we are in a culture that everybody wants to eliminate God and be their own God. Okay? So you hear a lot of these things, right? I could do it myself. I have all the power within me already. I could do hard things. It's my body. It's all these things. It's actually not. You belong to God. The second you accept him, you are now his. You acknowledge that you're his. And so if you're his, you're going to say, God, what do you want me to do next? Guys, there is a problem, I believe, in the Christian community in America. And here is the problem. They think just believing in God means that's all you got to do. And it's not. Remember this, guys. Believing in God doesn't mean believing God doesn't mean agreeing with what he says. It means doing what he says. A lot of people that go to church all the time go, yeah, sure. I'm sure he's the Son of God. I'm sure Jesus is the Son of God. I'm sure that God, there's a heaven. I'm sure there's a hell. I am sure that God, is out there. I get it. You could agree with it, but what are you doing with it? What are you doing with it? How are you using what he's given you? I'm going to say that again. Believing in God doesn't mean agreeing with what he says. It means doing what he says. And it's not easy. See, guys, the big benefit of allowing God to order your steps is that you'll get everywhere you've always wanted to go. Is not that you'll get everywhere you'll always wanted to go, but that you will become who you were always meant to be. So when you let him guide your steps, it's not just be like, yeah, I've heard this before, right? I could be anything I want to be. Wrong. I'm sorry to tell you, you can't be anything you want to be. I'm sorry to tell you that. I'm never going to be center field for the Dodgers, no matter how hard I try. I am never going to play point guard for the Lakers, no matter how hard I try. Okay? Never going to happen. So no, you can't be everything you want, but you could be everything he wants for you, and that's much better. He's got a plan. Now, how do I know that I have that? How do you know that you're believing in that? Because you have the fruit of the Spirit, the fruit. Galatians 5:22 says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such things there is no law. This is a big deal. That's how you know somebody is following Christ, because they have the fruit. By the way, notice it's fruit and not vegetables. Thank you very much. They've got the fruit of the Spirit. Now, this is a big deal, guys. This, especially as Easter comes along. Why is this a big deal? Because the way you follow God affects others' faith in God. I'm going to say that again. The way you follow him affects others' faith in God. So if you want to introduce somebody to God, who are you being? Think about that. Would I want to learn more from God from this person who's grumpy and judgy and annoying? No. This person's awful. I don't want any what this person has to say. So whoever it is that you are, that's what's going to attract other people. And here's why I ask this question, guys. And this is very key. People don't distrust God because of God. Overall, people think he's okay. They distrust God because of those who poorly reflect God. You could tell who's leading someone by who they're becoming on the path they're taking. You want somebody to trust God? Well, who are you? You want somebody to give God a try? Well, who are you? I've had people try to invite me to church before, and they were boring, judgy nerds that I normally would never hang out with, telling me how bad everybody else was. Like, who are you? You know? I accepted an invitation from my aunt who was humble and loving and kind, and I knew cared about me. So we want to leave you with something each week, with a challenge. So here's your challenge this week. Identify the next step God is encouraging you to take and start this week. Okay? That step could be anything. That step could be serving or inviting or tithing or whatever. But here's one step that you could all take, right? This is one step everybody could take right today. Wednesday at 6 o'clock, we have a men's Bible study and a women's Bible study. And it's up to you. We are offering this to you. Men's Bible study at 6, women's Bible study at 6. Right here. What is that? That is, I'm going to take a step. Just one. I don't know what I'm going to think of it yet. I'm just going to try it. I'm going to see. That's one thing you could do right now. Guys, I'm not telling you this just so you do it. I have to do it too. I'm there. I'll be there. Because I need that as well, just like you do. We all need this to grow. Okay? Guys, as a pastor, as a pastor planning a church or starting a campus, you become everything. You become the funeral person, the wedding person, the counseling person, the setup person, the tear down person. You're in every team, okay? Which is fine. That's what I signed up for. And you get baptisms, all the other fun stuff too. It's all great, but you're everything on that. And guys, as I mentioned before, if this was the first job, I would have quit. Why? Because it's the hardest thing I've ever done. And the single hardest thing is a three-parter. It's one, because I'm in everything, I get to know everybody and I get to love you. It really is like a family. I look at it as like we're going to a family gathering. And then when I don't see somebody because they go to another church, let's say, it hurts, you guys. Boy, it hurts. But as long as they're going somewhere else, at least they're being taken care of. And my hope and my prayer is that at least the pastor knows who they are and they can have a support system there, because that person should not be left on their own. And so that really, really hurts. But at least I know, at least they're going somewhere. The thing that's even a bigger bummer than that is when they stop coming and then they just don't go anywhere. They just they can't really find a church, or they just put up their Sundays, do something else. And that hurts even more, because I know they're just kind of floating around, just no community. That's a huge bummer. I'm like, oh, because you love these people. And then there's the worst of the worst. And that is when they stop coming and they blame me. That hurts. It hurts like I can't even explain. Because it would be like your mom or your dad or your brother or your sister or your spouse or somebody in your family saying, I'm unhappy and I know that you always are there for me, but it's your fault. Boy, that hurts. I can't even, I've shed so many tears about that. It is awful. And the thing that I've noticed is those people gather with other unhappy people. And then those unhappy people say, how come they're serving that and not this? How come that person doesn't go there anymore? How come this happens? How come you weren't there enough? Or how come you said my life was going to be good and then it's not good and it's kind of your fault? And then they blame me and it hurts so bad. Oh man. Guys, there is a reason where gossip is mentioned 144 times in the Bible. There is no way the enemy could take down a church. It's impossible. He has no authority here. But what he can do is he can cause gossip in the church. And he can cause, this, they really should be doing this better, and they really should be doing that better, and this isn't right, and that's not right. And instead of actually doing something about it, they just kind of leave, and then they tell everybody else how James should have done this, and James should have done that, and then they're miserable. Guys, it hurts. And I'm going to tell you right now, and this is the honest truth. If it wasn't for the people I have around me, I would have quit a long time ago, because that pain is so uncomfortable for me and painful for me that I don't want to keep having to go through it. I would much rather just do another thing and not have to deal with that. Not have to literally give my heart to somebody and then have them blame me for things not going the right way, and then they either don't go to church or they go and gossip around. That hurts so much. I'd rather just not do this. I'll just go to a church that has thousands of people and just sit up in the top and then leave. If it wasn't for the people I put around me, I would have just quit. If I need that, don't you think you need that too? Because here's the thing, guys. It's too easy when people come to you, you don't need to go to church. You don't need to trust God. You don't need to do this. You don't need to do that. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You have to have people around you, guys. There are people that when I think about and that I love so much and I don't see anymore, boy. These are people that I've been there, hospital beds and marriages and counseling during ugly breakups. And I'm not a robot. I don't turn this thing off after a hospital visit when I see somebody going. I come home and I pray. I get in my car, sometimes I cry. And then I have those people sometimes say, I didn't like the songs that they played. I didn't like this or that. And it's James's fault. The enemy loves that stuff. Guys, I need you so bad, because those calls and those texts, and you know who you are, boy, they mean everything to me. And if I didn't have it, I would have quit a long time ago, guys. Please, I ask you, don't try to do this on your own. Please don't. You won't make it. You won't. I would encourage you guys, Wednesday at 6, get to know some people in church. Get to build some more relationships so that none of us have to do this on our own. And I got to tell you right now, looking in your faces, I love you so much. So much. Let's pray. Father God, I just thank you so much for the opportunity that I get to serve these people, your people. You have entrusted me with taking care of your people, God. Father, I just pray that I can always look to you and put the right people around me so that I can always make sure that I'm giving everything that I've got to this, Lord. I thank you for the people that you've put around me, God. I thank you for this church family who I could feel this love. Father, I cannot wait for Easter to introduce this beautiful, loving family to more people as we grow your church together, God. Father, I'm humble that you would use someone like me to do this, but I thank you for the opportunity. And Father, with your guidance and your wisdom and your help and the people around me, I will not let you down. And I know that these people won't either. Father, we love you. We praise you. We do this for you. It's in your name. Amen.
South Hills Church, I just want to take a moment and say thank you for watching our service online. Whether you're watching it for the first time or you're watching it again because you enjoyed the service so much from the weekend, I'd like to take a moment and dive into our giving. Every week we give people the opportunity to give back and give to the local church so that God can continue to bless your lives and bless your finances. Here at South Hills, we believe that everything comes from God. We believe that He's the one that chose us and brought us into this world, gave us our gifts and talents and abilities. And I just want you to know that when we give, we are giving back what God has already given to us. If you've ever seen any of our envelopes at a South Hills campus, you'll see on there that it says, every week at South Hills, your generosity is giving people the opportunity to live a better story. And there's a scripture on there in Matthew chapter 6, verse 21 that says, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So I want to encourage you today to click down below and set up your giving, whether it's for the first time or whether you're doing reoccurring giving. We have 4 ways to give here at South Hills. 1, you can do it in person at any of our campuses through an envelope. Or 2, you can actually text any amount that you would like to 84321. And the 3rd way is to download our Church Center app. I encourage you to do this one because the Church Center app gives you opportunity to stay connected with our church and your campuses. It's a great tool and resource for you to know what's going on. And the 4th way to give is to give online. You can go to southhills.org/give and you can set up your giving there. Whether you're a guest of our church or whether you are a member of our church, or whether you simply just like to watch our services, I encourage you to trust God with your finances so that He can bless and anoint your finances, and you can be trusting God in this journey of living life to the fullest. I love you, and thank you for watching our online service today.